In our last segment, we examined 4 founder journeys: GoGuardian on CodeSpark, Teachee, and Udemy. Today, I want to share 3 more stories, introduce you to a venture studio model, and then synthesize the patterns that predict founder success. Let me start with Jennifer Dulski and Rising Team, a founder who built on 25 years of operating experience. Jennifer has a resume most founders would envy. She was the first female entrepreneur to sell a company to Google, the Deal Map, in 2011. She led Facebook groups when it had 1.5 billion monthly users. She ran Change.org as president and COO. Her education, Cornell MBA. Her teaching, Stanford GSB faculty, where she teaches management. Her book, Purposeful, a Wall Street Journal bestseller about bewildering movements. After all that success, she founded Rising Team in 2020. Why start another company at that stage of career? She saw a problem she called the Great Betrayal. Employees are promised growth, belonging, and trust. Companies rarely deliver. The result is disengagement, quiet quitting, and turnover that costs companies billions. Jennifer's insight: great managers know how to build high-performing teams, but most managers receive no training. They are promoted for individual skills, then expected to magically develop team skills. Rising Team provides software-guided team workshops. No expensive facilitator needed. The software walks teams through exercises based on research from Gallup. Your framework is called the 3 C's: clarify, coach, connect. Clarify goals and roles. Coach individuals to grow. Connect team members to each other. Simple framework, systematic execution. The AI component, an agent called ARTI, provides personalized leadership coaching. It knows your company context. It learns your team's patterns. It offers specific, actionable advice tailored to your situation. Here's the business model insight. Rising Team costs less than 5% of traditional coaches and facilitators. Same outcome, fraction of the cost. Technology enabling services that previously required expensive humans. The results are measurable. Over 90% of users report learning something valuable in their first session. Client S include Google Cloud, Cisco, Bank of Hawaii, and Weight Watchers. The Rising Team lesson: build products you wish you had as a leader. Jennifer's decades of operating experience taught her exactly what managers need. That domain expertise created PR product market fit that younger founders could not replicate. Now let me tell you about Curious Cardinals, founded by 2 Stanford undergraduates who took leave to build their company. Audrey Wish was a history major who wanted to become an immigration lawyer like Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Alec Katz was an aerospace engineering student who had started a nonprofit called Souls for Good in high school, collecting shoes for people in need. They met through Stanford's Habla program, teaching English to custodial staff on campus. Both had service orientation before they had business orientation. When COVID sent students home in March 2020, they started tutoring together from their homes. One thing led to another. By June 2020, they had founded Curious Cardinals. Their insight near-peer mentorship works. A college student teaching a high school student creates connection that traditional tutoring misses, close enough in age to relate, far enough ahead to guide, but they went further. Traditional tutoring is remedial, fixing problems. Curious Cardinals is passion-based. College mentors teach what they love: mass incarceration, fantasy football statistics, Korean pop culture, topics that spark curiosity rather than fill gaps. Students do and ought just learn content. They build real things, projects with tangible outcomes. This is project-based learning delivered through near-peer relationships. In 2021, they raised a $4.25 million seed round. Investors included Anthos Capital and Audacious Ventures, firms that saw what 2 undergraduates were building. Total funding reached $6.8 million. They built a network of over 650 mentors from top universities. They were featured on CNN, Forbes, and The Today Show. In 2022, both Audrey and ALEC made Forbes 30 under 30 in education. Not bad for people who had not yet graduated from college. Here is what impresses me most. They took indefinite leave from Stanford to build the company. They called their shared house in West Hollywood the K. Ardinal Crib, living together to build together. Stanford is not going anywhere, they said. This opportunity is now. They prioritized the startup over the credential. The Curious Cardinals lessons. Entrepreneurship is not sexy. It is a lot of hard work. If you are the best person to solve a problem, go for it. Credentials can wait. Opportunities cannot. Near-peer relationships have power that traditional hierarchies miss. Now, let me share insights from Jomera Herrera, a partner at Reach Capital, one of the leading early-stage investors in education, learning, health, and work. Jomera's background matters for understanding her investment thesis. Raised in Florida by Puerto Rican parents, first in her family to attend college, high school valedictorian, then Stanford for both her BA and MA in education. He started as an operator, not an investor. Her first job was at Bloomboard, an ed tech startup. She learned what building looks like from the inside. Then she joined Emerson Collective, Laurene Powell Jobs' family office. There she led the investment in Guild Education, which helps working adults get degrees through their employers. Guild became a major success. Her North Star, as she describes it, make the world a better place for the girl I was, democratizing opportunity regardless of background. This is not just philosophy. It guides every investment decision. What does Reach Capital look for? 3 current themes dominate their thinking. First, labor shortage solutions, tools that help educators do more with less. Teacher burnout is real. Teachers are leaving the profession in record numbers. Solutions that reduce administrative burden attract investment because they address an urgent crisis. Second, mental health and non-academic outcomes. Education is not just academics. Student well-being determines academic success. Companies addressing the whole student, social, emotional, mental, are interesting because they solve root causes. Third, AI transformation. What is possible now that was not possible before? The best AI education companies do not just add AI features to old products. They reimagine what education could be with AI as a foundation. Reach Capital's portfolio includes Career Karma, Guild Education, Handshake, Contra, and Teachy, the Brazilian company we discussed. Pattern, platforms that connect people to opportunity. Jomera's perspective on founder evaluation, she looks for people who understand the problem from lived experience. Academic understanding is insufficient. She wants founders who felt the pain personally. The Reach Capital lesson, VCs invest in people who embody the problem they solve. Your background is not a limitation, it is qualification. And now let me introduce you to a different model, Promise Venture Studio, which supports early childhood edtech. Promise Venture Studio is not a VC fund. It is a nonprofit venture studio focused specifically on early childhood, prenatal through age 5. This is the most underserved segment of education technology. The studio was incubated at Omidyar Network, Pierre Omidyar's philanthropic investment firm. It was founded by Matt Glickman, who previously founded Baby Center. Baby Center reaches 100 million parents monthly. Matt understood the early childhood market better than almost anyone. He saw gaps that commercial ventures were not filling. Promise Venture Studio is backed by Sirius Capital, Andreessen Horowitz, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This is not a small operation. What do? They run the ECD Venture Network, over 400 organizations and 500 entrepreneurs focused on early childhood development. They run the Promising Ventures Fellowship, an accelerator for early childhood social entrepreneurs. They also run Show and Tell, a demo series showcasing early childhood innovations, and the Early Childhood Leaders of Color Collaborative, supporting diverse founders in the space. The venture studio model is different from venture capital. Instead of just funding companies, they help build them. They unite proximate leaders. They accelerate equity-driven ventures. They connect innovators to capital and customers. The Promise Venture Studio lesson: some problems need more than capital. They need community, infrastructure, and patient support. The Venture Studio model provides all three. For Kazakhstan, consider: could a venture studio model support AI education entrepreneurs? Not just funding, but community, mentorship, and connection to customers? Now, let me synthesize patterns across all the founders and investors we have studied. Pattern 1. Personal connection to the problem. Every successful founder we studied had direct experience with the problem they solved. This creates motivation to survive hard times. When investors ask why you specifically should build this company, the best answer is autobiographical. You experience this problem, you understand it viscerally, you cannot not solve it. Pattern 2, willingness to pivot. GoGuardian pivoted from ML insights to distraction management. Curious Cardinals pivoted from traditional tutoring to passion-based mentorship. Flexibility is not weakness, it is strength. The founders who fail are those who love their original IDEA more than they love solving the problem. The founders who succeed follow customer reality wherever it leads. Pattern 3, creative distribution. Not a single founder we studied relied primarily on advertising. They all found unusual paths to customers. Channel partnerships, free for institutions, word of mouth through trusted professionals, marketplace dynamics where one side recruits the other. Building distribution is as important as building product. Pattern 4, design for constraints. No words interface, paper exam grading, operating on minimal budget, building during a pandemic. Constraints force creativity. The developing market founders especially understood this. Pedro at Teachy did not complain about Brazilian infrastructure. He designed for it. That constraint-based design became competitive advantage globally. Pattern 5, building teams with complementary skills. Grant Hosford partnered with a game designer. Audrey and Alec combined humanities and engineering perspectives. Aaron had co-founders with different strengths. Solo founders rarely build enduring companies. What skills do you lack? Who has those skills? How do you convince them to join you? These are existential questions for any founder. Pattern 6, Tim Ng and market awareness. The COVID pivot mattered for GoGuardian and Curious Cardinals. Remote learning created demand they could not have anticipated. They moved fast when opportunity appeared. Timing is partly luck, but noticing opportunities and oving quickly is skill. The founders who succeeded were ready when the moment came. Pattern 7, metrics before money. GoGuardian was cash flow positive before raising big rounds. Teachy had 1 million teachers before Series A. Udemy had a working marketplace before going public. Traction creates leverage. Now, how do these patterns apply to Kazakhstan? The personal connection pattern. You understand Kazakhstan's problems better than Silicon Valley founders ever will. That is an asset, not a limitation. The constraint pattern. Build for Kazakh infrastructure, not ideal infrastructure. Solutions that work in your conditions may work in similar markets globally, Central Asia, and rural regions worldwide. The distribution pattern: use networks that exist. Teachers trust teachers. Government relationships matter. Community connections are real. Do not try to replicate Silicon Valley marketing. The team pattern: find co-founders who complement your skills. Technical founders need commercial partners. Commercial founders need technical partners. Neither succeeds alone. The studio pattern: consider whether Kazakhstan needs venture studios, not just venture capital, patient support structures that build companies, not just fund them. For your final smile assignment, I want you to synthesize everything we have covered. The AI venture inquiry: identify a problem you understand personally. Apply the 7 due diligence questions. Describe your business model. Explain why you Specii should build this. What constraints will you design for? What distribution channels will you use? This is not a business plan. It is an investigation into viability. You are identifying the leap of faith assumptions that will determine success, and you are proposing experiments to test those assumptions. The 90-day learning sprint. What 3 specific experiments will you conduct to validate your core assumptions? Not building the full product, not raising funding, just learning whether your assumptions are correct. Sample smile posting. Problem: agricultural supply chain waste in Kazakhstan. Farmers lose 30% of produce between farm and market. Personal connection: my family farms wheat and vegetables. I have watched produce roti due to poor coordination. Due diligence summary: real problem, clear customers, farmers and buyers, significant market, moat through local relationships and data. Business model: transaction fee on marketplace sales plus premium logistics coordination. Why me? I speak the language of farmers because I grew up among them. Silicon Valley founders could not build trust with rural Kazakh farmers. Constraints: low smartphone penetration, unreliable connectivity, Russian and Kazakh language requirements, distribution, agricultural cooperatives, regional government relationships, word of mouth among farming families. 90-day experiments. 1. Can I get 10 farmers to list produce on a simple WhatsApp-based system? 2. Will 3 urban buyers pay market rates plus delivery fee? 3. Can I coordinate logistics for 5 transactions profitably? The founders we studied are not superhuman. They identified problems they understood, listened to customers, iterated relentlessly, and persisted through rejection. Jomera Herrera invests in people who embody the problem. Jennifer Dulski built what she wished she had. Audrey and Alec left Stanford because the opportunity was now. Aaron Bali heard 30 rejections and kept going. You have everything you need to do the same. The HE question is, will you? This concludes Module 1.4 on AI trends. You now have frameworks for understanding AI technology, investment patterns, innovation ecosystems, and entrepreneurial success. 20 segments, 3 perspectives. Dr. Li Jiang, ON Technology. Dr. Joy Chen on investment and strategy. Me on entrepreneurship and founder patterns. The AI era is not coming, it is here. What you build with this knowledge will determine its direction. Go build something that matters.